Are you curious how to use patterns in Cricut Design Space to create your own digital paper? Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Maker, and it's a beautiful day to learn how to use patterns in Cricut Design Space and really expand your projects. Patterns are a great way to add a personal touch to projects without needing to have a lot of different cardstock or other materials in your stash. And with a Cricut cutting machine, you can add patterns to specific pieces or an entire page, depending on what you need and your tools. Today I'll show you how to use Cricut's Print Then Cut feature to make cards with pretty patterned elements. And since we're using seamless patterns, the free files I'm sharing are flexible for many uses. First, I'll show you how to upload, use, and edit patterns in Cricut Design Space. And then I'll show you how to use the patterns you uploaded to create some really cute cards. I'll also cover calibrating your Cricut for Print Then Cut to make sure your designs look perfect. I'll use a blue light grip machine mat, several sheets of plain copy paper, a brayer, and my color printer to calibrate my Cricut cutting machine. I'm using a Maker 3 today, but this process works for all Cricuts. We'll make the cards using a green standard grip machine mat and letter size heavyweight matte photo paper, which shows colors from my printer really nicely. Plus, I have some tips on how to add dimension to your cards using craft glue or adhesive foam tape. And I'll show you how to make a card with a Cricut Joy Extra. It just needs a little extra assembly. There are a few more tools that help, but you can find links to exactly what I use over at jennifermaker.com/630. So, ready to get started? Let me show you where to get my free files, and then we'll begin. Step 1. Upload and edit patterns. First, download my free pattern designs at jennifermaker.com/630. You can either download right from that link by saving the project, or download from my entire free design collection. To find it, look for Libraries in the red bar at the top, and then click either Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. Search the page for design number 630 and click the link to download the designs. If you're not sure how to use these files, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs to learn how to download and unzip files. In the SVG folder, you'll find score and no score versions of my 5x7 inch and 4x6 inch card bases to cut on a cutting machine. The score version uses a scoring tool to make the creases, while the other one uses dash cut lines made with a fine point blade, and no scoring tool is needed for that one. There's also a DXF folder with cut files and a PDF folder with versions that you can print and cut by hand. In the PNG folder, there are 4 seamless patterns that you can use to make patterned design elements. One with butterflies, another with fruits, one with ladybugs, and one with a wine theme. I'll show you how to upload and edit these patterns to work for you, and then we'll prepare and print then cut a 5x7 inch note card using the score version on a Cricut Maker 3. And then I'll show you how to make a smaller no score version with a Cricut Joy Extra. To add a pattern file to Cricut Design Space, begin by clicking Upload. Select Pattern Fill and click Upload Pattern. Browse to find your downloaded design files, which were probably automatically placed in your Downloads folder. Then select the pattern you want in the PNG folder. Click Open to add it to Cricut Design Space as a Print Then Cut pattern. Click Upload. Your canvas will reload with a message at the top saying Pattern Upload Successful. Now let's add it to a shape to see how patterns work. Click the Shapes icon and select a free option, like the heart, to add it to your canvas. Then with the lock icon at the top closed to maintain the shape's proportions, drag a corner of its bounding box to resize it as desired. Select the shape you want to apply the pattern fill to. Click Operation to open a drop-down menu and select Print Then Cut. Then click the color box next to Operation. Click the drop-down menu below Print Type and select Pattern. Your most recently added pattern will be the top left preview square. Select the pattern you want to use. To adjust the pattern fill, click Edit Pattern. A window will pop up with several options to customize your pattern. Click the arrows in the scale box or adjust the slider to its right to change the pattern sizing. Increasing the scale will make the pattern elements bigger and use fewer repeats of the original design to fill the space. Conversely, decreasing the scale makes the elements smaller and tiles more of the original pattern. You can adjust the number in the horizontal box to change the left to right position of the pattern. A positive number shifts the pattern to the right, while a negative number moves it to the left. You can use this to set the focal point of the pattern. Changing the number in the vertical box, you guessed it, moves the pattern up or down. A positive number shifts the pattern up, while a negative number moves it down. You can also use the rotate number to change the look of a pattern. The numbers correspond with the degrees in a circle, so entering 90 will rotate the image clockwise 90 degrees, while entering 270 will rotate the image 270 degrees clockwise. Finally, under Flip, if you click the icon with vertical triangles, it will mirror the pattern across a horizontal axis. Or if you click the icon with horizontal triangles, it will mirror the pattern across a vertical axis. While the Flip tool is a quick and easy way to alter your pattern, don't use it if your pattern has words, letters, or numbers, or they won't come out right. Feel free to play around with the numbers and sliders for each tool as much as you like. When the pattern fill looks the way you want it to, click back on the canvas to exit the menu. Step 2. Make a card in Cricut Design Space. Let's add the pattern heart we made to a card. Click the Upload button, then Upload Image, click Browse and find the SVG you want. I'll demonstrate with the scorecards design that was in the file that we downloaded in Step 1. Open it and click Continue to add it to your canvas. Then click Save to give your project a name. The large rectangle is a 5 by 7 inch card base. The smaller rectangle with the vertical line is the back of a 4 by 6 inch card. And the smaller plain rectangle is a 4 by 6 inch card front that you can add a pattern to. With the design selected, click Ungroup. I recommend always ungrouping a design after you upload it, as it will be grouped by default. To keep your canvas distraction-free, delete the card elements that you don't plan to use. Since I'm making the 5 by 7 inch card, I'll delete the 2 small rectangles. And then also ungroup the card design. The layer with a single red line is the intended score line. With just that layer selected, click the Operation drop-down and click Score to change it. Now select both the new score layer and its basic cut layer. Click Attach to keep these 2 layers together. Now locate your patterned heart, click on it to select it, choose Arrange, and then Bring to Front. Now you can move your heart on top of the right half of your card so you can see how it will look. Feel free to resize it to make it larger if you like. I made mine about 3.75 inches wide. And if you don't like how the pattern looks after you resize it, use what I taught you in Step 1 to edit your pattern. Then save your project. You can now print and cut your project. But first, let's talk about calibration. Step 3, calibrate your Cricut for print then cut. If you haven't calibrated your Cricut recently, or if your print then cut projects aren't cutting precisely, follow these steps to improve your cuts. In Cricut Design Space, click your name to open a menu and select Settings. Then click Machines. Next, to Machine Calibration, click the Select Cricut Device drop-down menu and select your machine. I'll calibrate a Cricut Maker 3, but the steps are similar for the others. Then click Start. Now there may be different options, so click the button for Print Then Cut. If your printer isn't shown next to Print, click the drop-down menu to select it. Now load enough 8.5 by 11 inch white copy paper into your printer to print a few sheets. Follow the package's instructions for loading paper and make sure your printer's black ink levels are sufficient. Click Print and then click Continue after printing. Let the calibration sheet dry and then place it face up on a blue light grip machine mat with the numbers at the top. Align the paper in the top left corner of the mat and use a brayer to secure it well. On your screen, click Continue. Then select your Cricut from the drop-down menu. Make sure a clean fine point blade is in the clamp. Gently move the white star wheels so they're evenly spread across the roller bar to keep the calibration sheet in place during cutting. Now press the flashing button to load the prepared mat. Your machine will first measure the material length, and then once that's done, you'll want to press the flashing button to start the calibration cutting process. The Cricut will turn its sensor light on, locate the black registration lines on the sheet to orient itself, then cut close to the black square in the middle. Once the cut is complete, don't unload the mat yet. Instead, check how close the cuts are to the square. A properly calibrated machine will cut right in the middle of the 4 black lines that make the shape. But if the settings are off, the cuts will be partially on white paper. If you're having trouble seeing the cuts, you can take a picture of the sheet with your camera phone and zoom in. That's what I do. The Assessment 1 window asks how closely the cut square matches the black lines, and whether the cuts touch all 4 printed lines. If the cuts touch all 4 printed lines, select the circle next to Yes to move to Fine Calibration. But if the cuts didn't align, select the circle next to No and click Continue to start Basic Calibration. In Basic Calibration, the machine will cut vertical lines for numbers 1 through 21 at the top and horizontal lines for letters A through U along the right side of the calibration sheet. Once the cuts are complete, don't unload the mat. Look closely at the lines and note which vertical cut line is the most centered on a numbered line and which is the most centered on a horizontal line. On the Basic Calibration screen, click the top line drop-down and select the number of the most centered vertical line. Then click the right line drop-down and select the letter for the most centered horizontal line. Then click Continue. The window will say Basic Calibration is complete, so you can press the Unload button to remove the mat and calibration sheet. Flip the mat over on your work surface and peel the mat back to release the cut calibration sheet and its square cutout. Discard both pieces. On your screen, select your printer again. Then click Print to make another calibration sheet. Once the sheet is printed and dry, click Continue. Place the calibration sheet on your blue light grip machine mat and follow the prompts to make and assess the initial cuts. On the Assessment 2 screen, answer Yes to move on to Fine Calibration if the cuts touch all 4 lines on the square. But if not, answer No and follow the basic calibration steps again. Once you move to the Fine Calibration stage, the machine will cut the vertical and horizontal lines again. And just like before, you'll want to know and select the most centered vertical and horizontal lines. And then click Continue. Once the fine calibration is complete, the machine will cut the rectangle around the square for the confirmation cut. Keep the mat loaded and check how close the cuts are on the rectangle. On the confirmation cut window, answer Are you satisfied with the cut? By selecting the circle next to Yes if the rectangle cuts touch all 4 lines and are mostly centered. Or click No if it isn't precise enough, which will trigger a basic calibration again. Once you are satisfied with the confirmation cut and click Continue, the screen will reload. The calibration process is complete and the settings have been saved to your machine. The mat will automatically unload, so catch it and remove your calibration pieces. Click Close and get ready to make precise print then cut projects. Step 4. Print then cut your card. To make your card, make sure the correct machine is selected in the top right and then click Make. On the Prepare screen, you should have one Print Then Cut mat and one Basic Cut mat. If you're using a score file, the score operation will also be listed. Make sure your material size matches for each mat and type of material you're using. I'm using the same photo paper for both the patterned element and the card base. So I'll set everything to 8.5 by 11 inches, which is also, letter-sized paper. Now click back on the first mat to start at the top and then click Continue. On the Make screen, click Send to Printer. In the Print Setup window, select your printer and toggle on Add Bleed. Adding a bleed extends the design's colors a little beyond the real edge. So if your cut is a bit off, the extra space will be filled in instead of just be white. And make sure Use System dialog is selected to get more controls. Now click Print. If you don't see the System dialog window, it could be hiding behind the Cricut Design Space window. So just minimize or slide that window over and the window should appear. In the System dialog box, make sure your printer is selected. Change the paper to something like photo matte paper or the most similar setting, and make sure the quality is set to best or highest. Now, not all printer settings will be the same, and your window will probably look different than mine, but you can use my choices as a guideline to point you in the right direction. Now click Print and let the printer do its thing. When it's finished, let the design dry. You don't want to smudge it. Next, place the printed sheet face up on a green standard grip machine mat with the top left corner aligned on the grid and oriented to match your screen. Put a clean sheet of copy paper over the design to protect it, and then use a brayer to secure the design really well to the mat. Remove the protected paper once the print is adhered well. On your screen, set your base material to photo paper and change the pressure to more for a cleaner cut. Check the Remember Material Settings box to save time between mats too. Check that your premium fine-point blade is clean and in the clamp, and press the flashing button to load the mat into your Cricut, and then press the flashing Go button to begin cutting. When it's finished cutting, don't unload the mat right away. Instead, carefully lift a corner of the photo paper to make sure the cuts went all the way through. If not, press the Go button again to make a second pass of cuts in the same spots. Once the cuts are all complete, unload your mat, flip your mat over onto your work surface, and roll your mat back to release the photo paper without curling it or ripping it. If you have any issues with your cuts, go to jennifermaker.com/cleanercuts to get my tips and tricks. Then follow the same steps to prepare your card base mat with plain white photo paper. If you're using the score file, Cricut Design Space will suggest using the single scoring wheel. If you're using it, insert it into the clamp when prompted. If you're using the scoring stylus instead, click Edit Tools and change the wheel to the stylus. Click Apply and then insert it into the proper clamp. Then follow the steps to cut your card the same way as your patterned piece. Here are what my cut pieces look like. Step 5. Assemble your card. To create your large card with a patterned shape, first crease the card base and place it face up with the opening to the right. Then run your scraper along the crease to make it sharper. Next, use some craft glue to add the patterned piece to make a flat card, or to add dimension, use adhesive foam tape instead. For the flat card, add craft glue in thin lines to the back of the pattern shape. Flip the pattern shape over and center it over the card's front. Then press it in place and let it dry. Or if you want the shape to stand out from the card, place it face down. Cut a small piece of adhesive foam tape and add it to the back of the heart. Press the sticky side onto the back of the pattern piece so it's at least 1/4 inch away from the edges. Add a few more pieces of adhesive tape the same way. Then remove the remaining pieces of protective paper. Hold the shaped piece oriented correctly and tape the side down over the center of the card, then press it in place. Now let's do a no-score card in 2 pieces. To make the 4x6 inch card with the pattern front, follow the instructions in Step 2 to add the card SVG to your canvas. If you're using a Cricut Joy Extra or prefer not to use a scoring tool, use the no-score SVG like I am. Ungroup the design to make it easier to work with. Then delete the large card element since it won't be part of our final project. Select the plain rectangle and follow the steps from the main tutorial to add and edit the pattern fill you want to use. Now your smaller card is ready. Next, follow the steps to print then cut your card pieces. Follow the appropriate steps depending on your file and tool choices. Once your card pieces are cut, place the rectangle with the crease line, dash cuts or scored, on your work surface face up with the crease to the right. Fold up along the crease line. A scraper can really help you keep your fold straight. Then add a thin line of craft glue along its front. Hold the pattern piece face up so the images are oriented correctly. And then gently align the two pieces and press in place and let the glue dry. Step 6, show it off. Here are my finished cards using printed pattern design elements. Step 7, customize it. If you love these printed patterns but wish you could make your own patterns, I can show you how to make seamless patterns using Canva. Yes, really, you could make your own and it's so cool. You can learn all about how to create and use your own seamless patterns through a special program called Advance with Jennifer Maker at jennifermaker.com/advance. The Advance program helps to advance your crafting skills by teaching you how to make these popular designs unique and special through tutorials and templates, as well as give you advanced access to my vast library of designs, projects, and resources. I may or may not be accepting new members into the Advance program at the time you see this video, but if you're interested, go to jennifermaker.com/advance to learn more and see how it all works. Now you know how to use patterns with different design elements in Cricut Design Space. To send your card through the mail, you can even make a DIY envelope. Just follow my easy envelope tutorial. If you didn't resize the cards, the A7 size envelope fits the 5x7-inch cards, and the A6 size envelope fits the 4x6-inch cards. If you need any help making cards with print then cut patterns, there are reference photos in the tutorial on my blog post at jennifermaker.com/630. And remember, information on how to create seamless custom patterns is over at jennifermaker.com/advance. You can even make paper to use with a Cricut Joy. Speaking of crafting and customization, if you're considering a Cricut cutting machine, I regularly do a giveaway over on my blog. You can enter for the chance to win and get all of the giveaway details at jennifermaker.com/Cricut giveaway. I'd love for you to win and make your own cards and other projects. If you have any questions about working with patterns, photo paper, your Cricut, or anything else craft related that you think I can help you with, please let me know. You can leave your question below this video or ask over at our Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/Cricut Crafters. And please share photos of your pattern cards too. We absolutely love to see them. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.